play our signature song, In It to Win It, that was gifted to us by the voice. Shining bright into the future, we rise high, tall, happy, it's winning. It's shining down light. We're a nation, we are rising, we're walking tall. We are the stars. It's winning. It's winning. It's winning.
Yeah, come back on again, I think. You hear me?
The future of internet.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Unpassive, the future of the internet. We should stand clear because the door is closed already. The train is leaving the station. We are taking off, people. We are going high speed. Dr. Derry is going to tell us the top, the couple top. That's where we are now. So next we're going to hear from our own very sister, the person with the gifted voice that we just heard, and music, In It to Win It. We've already won it. She's going to come and give us the word, our mindset. Because if we have all the money in the world, I would have the right mindset, we'll be in trouble. There's a saying that money is the root of all evil. No, it's a love of money, or the way you use money, that's the root of all evil. So as Mr. Ashmofara has promised the financial, we are going to be working on our mindset. So without wasting time, I'll call upon our very own sister, Lerato Shadare, to come up and give us the mindset. Over to you, Sister Lerato.
Hello, beautiful sis. Hello, my sister. How are you? Dr. Patience, how are you?
Hello, your volume is a little bit low. Can you just increase it?
Low. Hold on. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
I couldn't hear you earlier when you spoke. It's better now.
It's better now?
Still low.
Still a little bit low. Just if you can increase it a bit.
See, maybe the settings here, because I don't know what it is that I'm doing different. Okay, hold on. Microphone. Yeah. Audio. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Better?
Better.
Okay, thank you. Maybe it was the settings because I had to change settings here. Anyway, can
Okay.
you hear me? Yeah, you hear me clearly, right?
Very clear.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to say hello to everybody. I said to Dr. Patience, hello, my beautiful sis, and Dr. Benny, and Dr. Derek, and my sis, everybody here. Hello. I'm so excited. There was a question that was asked at the beginning. How excited are we? Like, I'm uber excited. If you're not excited, I don't know what it is that you need to, what that needs to happen now. Like, really, you know, you look at them. I was watching the video that Dr. Derek just shared now, and just the whole concept of Dubai, how it started. And you could, you know, if you're reading the text, there's a segment that said, you know, there was a lot of challenges. There was a lot of perseverance that needed to happen for the dream of Dubai to manifest, for Dubai to be the place that it is now. It started from a long time ago, and it just didn't start with people who didn't intend it, right? They intended it to be, meaning that they thought about it, they meditated about it. It was something that was formulated in the mind, and it manifested, because it's not something that they were willing to give up on, right? And it just reminds me of our CEO, you know, and the vision that is, you know, ahead of us, the vision that is here. It's manifesting. We are in the process of this birth of this something beautiful, right? Because it's a process. It's not just the destination. It's a process. And I think because every time when he speaks, he says that the dream is much bigger than what you think, and there's much more that we do not know. So it's still a process, and we can see it with everything, with our new products, with everything that is happening, that it's a process. And that also applies to our mindset, right? Everything that we want, everything that we desire, everything that we intend to be, or anything that we reach out for, it's a process, right? And the whole time that we've been here talking to each other, we spoke about many things. Some of the things that we spoke about, probably we forgot. Some of them came in this year, went out the other year. You know, but what's important, and what I know that all of us want here, is for us to prosper, right? All of us want to succeed. We cannot be here if we're not looking for that success. So that means then we have to really, I always say that we have to be really intentional about our success, because it's not something that we can desire for one day and then let go of the next, right? So that means we have to be very consistent with our thought patterns. We have to be consistent and intentional about everything that we absorb, everything that we hear, everything that we see, and our reaction as well. So we have to really redefine ourselves and reinvent ourselves and our belief systems. And this is one of the topics that I spoke about from the beginning. I said, you have to know yourself, right? I spoke about, who are you? Right? What do you believe? Because those belief systems form what you are, right? And then you manifest as what you believe, right? Because what you think you are. So it's very important to know who we are. And then we spoke about the choices that we make every day, choices to love, choices to fear, choices, you know, we spoke about a lot of things. And not only one way, prosperity in everything that we do, not only in one in one part of our life, but in everything, prosperity in everything that we do, right? So that means then if we choose prosperity and we want prosperity and we desire prosperity, we're gonna have to now start divorcing mindsets that do not agree with prosperity, right? So everything that supports our new set of beliefs, then we have to start reinforcing. I will tell you a little bit, it's just a small story because I don't want to take too much time, but you know, in South Africa, we have also traditional kings. And when kings go to meet the public or they appear somewhere, you always have a praise dancer that comes and announces the king. And I asked somebody who knows all these traditional things, and I was like, but why do praise dancers do that? Is it, you know, because they say a lot of things. Some of the words that they say about the king. They will tell the king, oh, you are the one that holds the whatever, you know, they will say all these wonderful things about the king. And I'm like, but why do they have to reaffirm the king? And he says that it's very important to reaffirm the king, because if you reaffirm yourself, then you stand in your position, right? He needs to hear who he is, because when you are somebody watching you from the outside can actually observe, most of the time observe you better than you yourself where you are. So the person can be able to tell you about yourself, and then that makes you sit in who you are. That's why for me, I'm a believer. I'm reaffirmed by the word of God. I'm reaffirmed by Christ, right? So, but the most important thing that I took out of that is that you need that reaffirmation. Everything that we believe, what we believe ourselves, you need to reaffirm yourself. You need to tell yourself that I am this person. I am prosperity. I am this person. I'm the person that does this. Start mentioning those things that you want to see about yourself and start reinventing yourself, right? It's not all about hearing it, but it's about you doing it and manifesting or sitting in that manifestation of whom you want to be, right? So that means whatever that you're going to do, when you reaffirm yourself, it's going to involve your mind, right? Your mind is two ways. You have your subconscious mind and you have your conscious mind, right? So everything that you they tell you that most of the time, the best time to reaffirm yourself is in the morning or in the evening when you don't have a lot of distractions. And that's what I do. I meditate in the morning or in the evening. So start speaking those things that you want to see, all these things that we're speaking about, because you cannot talk about prosperity. You cannot want to walk in prosperity, or you want this wealth and you're not it. It's not going to stay, guys. You cannot acquire wealth when you don't have the consciousness of wealth. You have to be it. So that means you have to reaffirm it. You have to start thinking like the wealth that you want to be. You have to start thinking like a millionaire. You have to start speaking. You have to start, all these things. It has to start in your mind. And then all these processes now will manifest, right? Because everything starts in the spiritual. It starts in the mind before it starts being affirmed in the physical, where it starts manifesting. So meaning yourselves as well. This reinvention of who you want to be will have to start first in your mind, meaning your heart. So that means that you have to be very diligent of anything that enters your consciousness, anything that you listen to, anything that you watch, anything that you allow into your person, right? Because you're a portal. I tell people all the time, when we speak here all the time, I tell you that you're not just a physical being, you're a spiritual being, and you're a portal. You are multi-dimensional being, meaning that you're a portal. So anything that you allow to enter, you have to be very picky now, right? You cannot now start basking in anything that speaks less of whom you want to be. You cannot bask in negativity, in anything that doesn't support this reinvention of whom you want to be. So meaning that everything, all that is good. So meaning you have to sit in all that is good, that is enriching to your spirit, right? So the words that you're going to start affirming yourself with, so you're going to have to start now speaking these things that we want to see, right? So we're going to have to start looking like what we want. We have to look like prosperity, guys. You cannot speak prosperity and you're dressed in rags. It cannot be. Right? So you have to pay attention to how you appear, your presence, do you present yourself to people? How do you start refining yourself so that the good and the prosperity that you're looking for can agree with you and can be who you are, right? So all these things are very important, right? So because everything that is spiritual, the mental precedes the physical and the manifestation that is going to come. So you have to be intentional. Every day when you wake up, whatever that you do, it has to support the reinvention, the reinvented man that you want to be, right? Because success and wealth is very spiritual. It's not only physical. It's very spiritual as well. It's energy, right? So we have to now start. Can somebody, I don't know who's speaking. Can you help me mute your mic, please? Thank you. Yeah, so you have to really now, when we are now conscious of our choices, the choices that we make, they have to agree with good. They have to agree with God. They have to agree with prosperity. They have to agree with everything that we want to be here. And all of us, like I said, all of us that are here, we are in the mind of prosperity. That means we are in the consciousness of prosperity. So everything that we do has to be with that, right? So And to just support what I'm saying, in the scripture that I read, it says that God said, let us make men in our own image. This thing of saying let us make men, it was a thought before it became a creation, right? So meaning that he thought it. There was a thought before creation. So that means that the man that you're making of yourself, it starts from your heart, from your mind. So work on that very, very diligently so that everything good will now start agreeing with you. Right? Everything good will start agreeing with you. The treasures that we're looking for, the secret treasures that are there for us, but most of us are ignorant to them, you know, because we don't know actually what we have access to spiritually and mentally in every way. We don't know what we have access to. You know, we are walking around like beggars and everything, and we don't understand that the kingdom or the realm where we are is very, very abundant. So we walk like beggars, we think like beggars, we want prosperity, but we fall into our old habits of thinking and walking like beggars, dressing like beggars, you know, shopping like beggars. I'm not saying, you know, max your credit card, but when you want something, you would rather choose the best instead of limiting yourself and choosing meager things, because when you limit yourself, that consciousness of limitation will be who you are. Right? So like my brother John here, Dr. John, you know, talks about mindfulness and financial literacy. We still have those things that are happening for us, but as we are literate financially, we have to also think about literacy in our spiritual men and what we want, right? So think about all those things. As you reinvent yourself, remember that you cannot be prosperous when you're not the prosperity that you're looking for, right? So these are the things that, please give me a second. I wrote something down here that I wanted to say. Okay, yeah. So these are the things that the reinvented men that we have to agree with our thought processes, and everything that we meditate on has to agree with the reinvented men that we are, right? And the other thing, what was important, I didn't want to miss this, is like we don't prosper only for ourselves and for the sake of ourselves and only for our enrichment. We have to remember that we are God's tool, you know, that we are the channel of God that will bless humanity and enrich humanity. So as we are prosperous, we have to remember that we are prosperous in order to water God's humanity. We are to water God's creation and produce what is good, right? So, and all these things, because we think like that, then we will start attracting everything that will support the belief systems that we have, right? That we are now forming, right? So let's think about this week in ourselves. All our choices has to support prosperity. All our thoughts have to support prosperity. Do not sit in anything that doesn't support prosperity. If it's gossip, if it's malice, if it's news that don't support prosperity, remove minus you. It has to be minus you. Everything that we do now, because now we are reshaping ourselves, we are reforming ourselves. Everything that we do now has to support the prosperous men that we desire, or we are transforming now to be, right? So everything has to support that. So think, walk, talk like a millionaire, like a prosperous person that you are, like the life-giving being that you are. Start thinking, speaking, and doing everything that manifests life and prosperity and good, right? And this is what we're doing. So this week, guys, every morning it's a choice. Everything is a choice. I said before that everything that we do is a choice. So let's support those choices. We are working in this prosperity now. Everything has to support that. Everything about ourselves has to support that and reaffirm that. Like I said about the king, that he always gets reaffirmed. So find those words, find those, anything that affirms you in the prosperity that you are. Walk in that, speak in that, sleep in that, wake up in that, so that we can be the best versions of ourselves and be the best that we can be here and now, right? So thank you so much for listening to me. In case you didn't hear it, I love you so much. And we are winners, guys. We are winners, and you deserve it. You deserve to win. All of us here deserve to win. I love you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Lerato. I don't know where Sister Irene, your mic is working now or not. Let me know. Sister I, is your mic working now? Okay, we'll go back to Sister Irene. Thank you, Sister Lerato. If we to start we have to start thinking prosperity, and we have to divorce all the attributes that are holding us behind. Wonderful, wonderful mindset there from our own sister. It's powerful. Divorce the mindset, the things that are holding you to be prosperous. Think what you want to be.
That was powerful.
All right.
Very powerful.
So, a good man speaks good from his heart, and evil man speaks evil from his heart. What a man speaketh comes from his heart. So, if you want anything, speak it. And at this time, I'm going to introduce our next speaker. Not how do I introduce him? I'm going to introduce our next speaker that is going to come and tell us about financial breakthrough. And Sister Lerato said he's been telling us about financial freedom, smart financial move. He's a chemical engineer turned financial advisor. So he actually took this as a crusade. So he said a lot of our community, we don't get this information shared to us. So we don't get, we are not good steward to our finances because we don't have the knowledge. So he actually switched to financial consultancy more to really help the community to understand some of the aspects that are out there that we tend not to know about. So they don't teach this in school. It's my one man.
That's better.
Okay. Let me end it that way.
Just say
Let's
my
call
husband.
Dr. John Ajongwen. No. Let's just leave it like that.
Sugar in your tea.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
It's an official unpassive meeting, so let's just leave it like that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hallelujah. Woo.
It's the chemical engineering. Just say my husband.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, I am.
What happened to Sister Irene and Sister Debbie's phone today? That's the problem, right? Okay,
I
over to you, Dr. John.
If you can hear me, then we thank God for that. You know what, guys? I have a T-shirt say, I know I believe, and I know why it matters. We know why we believe we're in non-passive, and we better know why it matters to us.
Amen, church.
This was actually a T-shirt that we used today at church, and I thought I'll break the rule of not coming on here with T-shirt because the message is afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is where you are. And if you're here today really looking for specific tools or some formulas for financial breakthrough, I really want to start by apologizing that is not what this passage or this topic or this presentation is going to be about. I'm going to do my level best to mimic what our beautiful sister just did, to really continue to reinforce the mindset ideas when it comes to the finances. The tools and the how to do it, those are immaterial. Once you get the mindset, I think those can always come in play. So for today, if you hear me lecture, you hear me throw a few mindsets, you even hear me quote the scripture or preach, bear with me. It's all for the good of what I hope we will all achieve today. So for this presentation today, if you can see my screen, I have been presenting a series mainly through our sister platform, Deep Dive. And the title has been really Steps to Financial Independence, for a lack of a better phrase. Today is part 6. If you've missed 5 parts of it, don't worry, be happy, because the kings and queens in this platform that have YouTube channels actually have all the recordings for you. And I think there's a part 7 already drafted. It will be coming soon. I don't know when. But for today, I just want to recycle and talk about the idea of a financial breakthrough and my understanding of what financial breakthrough really means, or how we can achieve it, and what are some of the concepts that we have to really have in our minds in order to get this financial breakthrough. So starting right off there, what does it mean when we say somebody is achieving financial breakthrough? If you ask that question, I think many of us would think about things like financial independence, financial prosperity, or think about money in general. But really, when you even start to peel the onion and say, what is a financial independence? Again, it means a lot more than just living in a mansion, living an extravagant lifestyle. It means living what I'll call a purposeful and fulfilled life. And how you define that really is down to you or your family. Because if we are to use this God-given opportunity that On Passive has presented to us to actually have a financial breakthrough, then we should be thinking beyond just being comfortable, but thinking about being purposeful in our living. There is a book by Rick Warren which talks about purposeful life. You can read that if you want to actually educate yourself a bit more about it. But when I think in terms of financial independence or financial prosperity, there are some key features that would, if you see them manifest with somebody, then you can always start to say maybe that person has achieved financial breakthrough, they're financially prosperous, or they have financial independence. And some of them I've got them here. This is not the exhaustive list, but some of them you see those people are not like we are now. Many of us are actually quite worried how we're going to activate our accounts. We're worried where we're going to be able to pay the next bills. When those worries are taken away because that has become a thing of the past, then it also starts to indicate that you're beginning to get a financial breakthrough. Living within your means, saving enough to cover 6 months to 1 year's worth of your income, reducing and eliminating debt, protecting the loved ones that you're responsible for, just in case the worst case scenario occurs, being able to look beyond just yourself and think about the neighbor, think about other people that you can lend a helping hand to, giving, and more importantly, to consider living just beyond yourself, creating and leaving a legacy are some of the things that when financial professionals start thinking about people who are financially independent or financially prosperous, those are some of the things that when you look at someone, you may see that person exhibiting those. However, in this our fast-paced world, achieving financial independence is really beyond, it's a distant dream and beyond most of us. That is why most of us here in Unpassive, we have this we're being asked to dream, because soon and very soon, some of those issues may no longer be a concern for us because of what Unpassive will be able to do to us. It is not just about accumulating wealth, but more importantly, managing it and leveraging it to create that purposeful, driven life that we desire to achieve. Again, Sister Lerato, thank you for that inspiration. I hope that people can just listen to some of the things you said and start thinking, what is the purpose that God created me and put me here now to be able to do? And then look at it and say, unfortunately, we have not been able to have those tools to give us that opportunity to deliver on that purpose. But now we actually have it. It requires us to start like now or ASAP and to be consistent and follow a couple of steps that will guide us towards that prosperous future. That brings me down to the key word, the mindset. The right mindset, supported by the right strategies, enabled by a consistent effort, will actually help us to be able to realize that. And what we've attempted to do during this journey of financial series has been just to open up the curtain a bit to share with all of you what are some of those mindsets we should be developing. We have talked about and we know examples of people who win millions in the lottery and they commit suicide or they go broke because they did not have the right mindset. If any of you have been paying attention to the all the numerous webinars that our CEO actually presents, I would say 60 to 80% of those webinars he focuses on developing our mindsets. Because if we have the right mindset, and then we can, even with the help of somebody, put together the right strategies, success is ours, God willing. So what we're going to do during the next tens of minutes that I'm going to spend with you is to really walk through some of what I think are some of the those elements that we can consider. I think many of you have seen this graphic before, and it just contains some key activities that we should actually try to do for ourselves. So as we embark on this journey of financial breakthrough, at the very foundation, I had talked about protection, life, health, disability insurance. Yes, those are important. And I did just mention that the part 7 of this series, I actually came back and focused on this idea of protection because it is one of those things where, for me, I didn't actually appreciate or know its importance before I got into the area of finances. And then we talked about debt management. We talked about emergency funding. The last slide was 6 months to a year. When Ash talks about us filling our tanks, these are some of the elements that we should have so that we feel that we are comfortable. And then we start thinking beyond ourselves. Building wealth, protecting wealth, building a legacy, protecting a legacy, reaching out to others. That is going beyond and above ourselves. And that is the mindset that if we all embark on or embrace, we are on a good journey, not only to uplift ourselves, but to uplift humanity. So, what are some of those steps or some of those concepts that I just want to throw out there for you to consider? The very first one is really that as we have approached this point where unpassive is now a reality, some people are beginning to actually withdraw and fear the apples and converting them to whatever currency that they have. The first thing that we need to actually think is sit back and set for ourselves goals that we want to actually achieve through this unpassive journey. Yes, the biggest barriers to financial or anything really is not really knowing what it is you want to achieve. So if you don't know where you're going, it's almost impossible to even start the journey because you end in the wrong place. Money, of course, is good, and the more money we have probably will help. But why you really want that money should be at the forefront of your mind. It should be in your heart. It should be in your head. And that is the main thing that, to me, I think needs to really be worked on. We need to figure out what you would do with the money that is going to come through this unpassive gift and why you want to do that with. Obviously, setting up clear and measurable goals, whether it's any strategic project or anything you want to do, are the first steps that people want. It may be in terms of how much you want to save, how much you want to invest in, the timeline, but try and make sure that you say to yourself, by the end of the year, I want to be able to do this, this, and this. So it's got some time, it's measurable. But before you embark on that, the very first thing is really that you need to do a self-reflection and introspection and decide on your values. There is a very good book that I just finished reading. I'll probably read it a second time. It's called Entrusted. And I'm going to strongly recommend a lot of us or all of us to read it. The author is David York and Andrew Howell. And one of the chapters in that book really talks about discovering who you are as an individual and as a family and what you believe. So now you see my belief t-shirt was partly linked with this, because when you have thought about it and you look at it from your family and say, how will I like to be remembered 2-3 generations from now, not only tomorrow? Then those will drive the values that you want to prioritize on, and it will help you set the goals that will allow you to be able to achieve financial breakthrough. And people usually say it, I think the book Think and Grow Rich talks about actually visualizing you achieving it in some future date, seeing yourself doing it, seeing yourself maybe when we're no longer here, looking back at other generations and said, thank God I started this particular thing. We need to be able to spend some time and think about it. Then once you have done that, that is the only point that you can start creating a plan, because you now actually know where your North Star is. You know your values, you know your priorities, you can start creating a plan. And one thing to just highlight here is that this is not a get rich quick type or you'll get the results tomorrow, because financial breakthroughs don't happen overnight. They rarely. You may be the one odd person that you make it. It requires a lot of months working on it, sometimes years, but it's something that if you don't start and actually identify the steps, think about what it is you're going to do, then you'll not be able to start and achieve that journey. The second thing, guess what? Another mindset word comes in. We need not to only create a broader mindset, but we need to be able to develop for ourselves a wealth mindset. And this again is crucial because it makes us to really have a positive attitude towards money and towards wealth. We've heard so many times said money is the root of all evils. And I love some of the statements our sister Lerato has said in the past, that what money is just a big magnifying glass. It magnifies who you are. If you're a good person, it will show the goodness in you. Somebody's okay. If Salifu or Sally, you need to unmute yourself, please. If you are somebody who is quote unquote evil, what money is going to do is just magnify those not so pleasant attitudes of yourself. So we need to create a positive attitude with money. Rich people are not mean. Rich people are not greedy. You need to actually see the goodness that some wealthy people have done to the world. We need to look at an example of our CEO and see that money can actually be a vehicle to a lot of good. And in part of that belief, you should actually create that mindset and believe with your heart As he said, once it comes from your brain and into your heart, then that's how you behave. The book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, it says that if you really believe, you would achieve it. And this one, I highlighted it. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals who inspire and motivate you to grow financially, or as they call it, create a mastermind alliance for yourself. We are blessed on this platform and on many of our sister platforms that we have gifted individuals who motivate us, who would encourage us, who would see the weaknesses in us and accept us for who we are, and still be able to push us towards that right direction. Those are the people that we need to actually get ourselves more and more aligned with. It doesn't mean that you go ahead and forget about the people that are in your circle now that do not encourage you, because one of the biggest challenges is that we get bogged down by them. We hear most of the naysayers tend to be our closest friends, our closest family members, our loved ones. Just think about the people that you have reached out to and told them to come to Unpassive. How many of them are people you reached out to because people you knew, and those are the people who said no to you, but the people that probably you didn't know have said yes to you. Look for those people, but don't just throw away the people that do not align with you, because they are still there. They will show you some aspects of your life that may not necessarily be financial. As well as that, there is nothing wrong with going out there and looking for professionals, planners, mentors that will be able to help you achieve this journey. But before you create that mindset, just make sure that you are building everything on a very strong financial foundation. And that's when you just remember the graphic I showed. I talked about the insurances, because in most cases, we probably, again, if we're not educated about it, we don't realize that from a financial point of view, most cases you would get 3 or 4 times what you put in. The third idea is really the one about creating a budget. I think we had one of the parts of the series that was presented was to talk about creating a budget. And right down here, one of the methods that I used in that presentation was this 50-30-20 budgeting rule. I'm not going to really dwell on it here, but just says 50% of your income, put that towards your expenses, 30% towards your needs, and 20% towards your wants. But whatever you choose to do, whether you use a paper, pen, or you use an app, or whatever you need to do, you need to be able to track your income and track your expenses so that you know how much of it you need to use for building that long-term wealth or creating that financial breakthrough for you. Because if you don't know where your money is going, you will not know what you need to be able to get a financial breakthrough. And for those of us in Unpassive, all of us here actually, there's the temptation that when the apples start to flow on a regular basis, we'll just say, okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to have some more money tomorrow and the next day and so on. And that distracts us from the discipline of budgeting. That is not a right approach to take, because it would only derail you from your true financial breakthrough. Number 4 is really talking about educating yourself on some essential financial literacy. I'm not saying you go and become a financial guru, but really to educate yourself in terms of in things like personal finance, investments, how money works. And here I just listed a few books that I found useful. The Millionaire Mindset and Trusted that I mentioned, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, The Millionaire Next Door, How Money Works, and a lot of other little nice to read books that can actually just help show you how money works and some of the pitfalls that can stop you from actually achieving your financial breakthrough. The next one obviously goes without saying. When we are in debt, we cannot really think in the future. It's like you're in a hole and somebody's telling you to start running to some distant place. We need to be able to dig ourselves out of debt. And we had talked about some strategies for doing this during one of the series that we presented here. Especially for those of us in North America, this is really important because when you develop very good financial management, you also develop a great credit history, which or credit score, which can actually impact your financial opportunities. That said, we know debt is really a problem to a lot of people these days. And if you want to find out what the Bible thinks about it, Romans 13:8 pretty much reminds us that we should owe nothing to anyone except for the obligation to love one another. So if the only debt I owe you is to tell you today that I love you, then I'm glad about that. Number 6, we almost halfway gone, is to have multiple streams of income. Yes, unpassive itself is going to create multiple streams of income for us. How? Even with a single account, you're going to have multiple products, and each product is a stream of income. So unpassive in its own right is going to help in the wealth creation by giving us multiple streams of income. But here is what I will probably add to it. Let us behave as if unpassive will not be there in the next 10, 15, 20 years to be providing this ongoing income. But think about creating other multiple streams of income funded by the efforts of unpassive. This will provide stability and will open up new avenues for wealth accumulation that will enable you not only to achieve the financial breakthrough, but be able to help others. And in Effiong, and in trying to do that, you need to be able to save for your retirement or for later on in life. And again, this is one of those things that you need to start like as soon as possible. And in doing so, we want to be able to, why I say do it as soon as possible is because you would harness the power of compounding, which is one of the most powerful concepts when it comes to investing. And I think we talked about it using the rule of 72, where time becomes a critical component in where and how we invest. Why is it necessary for us to be able to invest and save for the rainy days? Because Proverbs 21:20 says, the wise have wealth and luxury, but the fool spends whatever they get. Let us not develop that mindset. Let us make sure that we have savings, because if we have savings, we will always have something to pull out in the event of an emergency. And emergencies come in different forms and different shapes. Invest wisely. You would think that the two are related. Yes. One of the key factors when I talked about multiple streams of income is also to look at, don't have multiple streams of the same thing. Think about diversification, and People will talk about stocks, real estate, mutual funds, insurance, entrepreneurship. Look for whatever advice you can or whatever you think is near and dear to your heart, but do not put your proverbial eggs in one basket. Create wealth with the money that we're going to get from unpassive. Remember, money and wealth are not the same thing. Having a good savings is good, but investing usually leads to profits in the future. Send your grain across the seas, and in time, profits will flow back to you, but divide your investments among many places, for you do not know the risks that lie ahead. I mean, can you think about all this idea about investing long-term and diversification? Ecclesiastes 1:11, 1 and 2 just spells it out for us. So investing with diversification, with strategies to protect against losses, making sure that when you are able to take out that money for yourself or for your loved ones or transfer it, that it is done in the best and most tax efficient way, is something that we should all learn to do. It is not illegal. We just don't do it because we're not informed. And I don't think I am overemphasizing when I talk about training ourselves, developing ourselves professionally. Strive to make sure that we keep our skills up to date. Just imagine Unpassive is way ahead because our CEO decided to embrace the latest and upcoming technologies in the market. And we know a lot of companies that will soon become irrelevant. Do not acquire knowledge that is in the past, but keep increasing your knowledge. And then your financial breakthrough will ride that wave, whatever it is. Because as Ben Franklin says, when you think about investment returns, an investment in knowledge actually pays the best returns. Whatever you do, make sure that discipline and patience are the two other key features that you build into it. Financial prosperity is not achieved overnight. We have mentioned that. Stay committed to your goals and maintain a long-term perspective. We know, I think we know of the Rockefellers, we know of the Rothschilds in America, we know of all those people that were able to build a long-term sustainable wealth because they did not just go out to see how much they're going to make yesterday and today, but they thought what is going to happen 3, 4, 5, 6 generations down the road. Impulsive decisions are some of the biggest things that can hurt us. So whatever your financial plan is, yes, once you've defined that North Star, you may have to adjust plan along the way, but stay true to your goals. Be contented with what you have, because we live in a generation which wants more, and they want it like yesterday. But where does true wealth really come from? True godliness is contentment, and with contentment, it in itself is great wealth. Why? Because we came with nothing and we'll live with nothing. So when we get to a point that we are not happy with what we have, it begins to create anxiety into us. It begins to make us nervous. And what that does is that it shifts us now to start trying to take risks. Soon greed takes over, and when greed takes over, financial breakthrough cannot follow. Therefore, it is important that we keep our hearts and our minds in check when it comes to the motives of why we're trying to gain financial freedom. Just remember what I talked about. What are our values? What are our principles? What are some of the things that you would want people to remember you about? Those things that do not happen overnight. It takes time for them to manifest. Stewardship. You know, God wants us to handle our finances here on earth. Because if you are untrustworthy about worldly wealth, just imagine, how can you plan to get more riches, even heavenly ones? That's a question from Luke. And when we talk about stewardship, we're talking here about really being good stewards to what we have, making sure that we put the money we have to good use. And this might surprise a few of you. There are many of us who have purchased unpassive accounts for ourselves, for our kids, for our families, for our loved ones. Guess what? Chances are that none of them are in unpassive. Chances are that none of them really understand the vision, the mission, and what the unpassive is all about. Chances are that they have not had the opportunity to listen to some of the brilliant mindset presentations that we get from Deep Dive, that we get from the Dream Team, and then they know that this is work that is being entrusted to us to be able to use to uplift humanity. If you then just take those accounts and you throw them over the fence to them, chances are that a majority of them may end up treating it as somebody who just won the lottery without the right mindset, and it could actually hurt them. So one consideration may be, do not give those accounts over. Keep them, protect them, build that whatever wealth you're able to build from there, and then use that to uplift them. Maybe when you figure out at some point in the future that these individuals are actually able to understand what an important asset they have in their hands, at that point it may be necessary to do that transfer. I mentioned the book Entrusted that I said I just finished reading. One of the concepts there is that as a steward of, or somebody who wants to create an entrusted type of wealth, use that wealth to provide what they call a flint and a kindling, but not the fire. What that means here is use whatever it is to help them educate themselves, help them understand some apprenticeship, help them be able to even expand their minds by travel. Why not? That's education in its own right. And then provide them an opportunity. Maybe help the person start a business. Help them to be able to get out of debt and do something beneficial to themselves. And they will be able to actually uplift themselves because you would have taught them how to fish rather than just throw fish at them, and when they're full, maybe they'll abandon the rest. Therefore, we should really strive on being a good steward, because being a good steward makes us see the fruits of our faithfulness, and many will benefit from it now and for all times. That is really when you start seeing that you got some true financial breakthrough. And of course, you should practice charity and giving. Give and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. the amount you give will be more than the amount you receive. Luke 6:38. Always make sure that you put your money into good use, and breakthrough will happen. God wants us to be reminded how blessed we are through this journey of unpassive. And he wants us to trust him. Again, it says in the Bible that God loves a cheerful giver. And we have heard our CEO say it over and over and over, that he actually derives happiness in giving. You know, I was making like a joke with one of my brothers, and I said, when the unpassive wealth comes, we have two choices. We can go to the local village, just close and they just turn a blind eye to every suffering there, go build a mansion somewhere on a hill, build the tallest fence to fence it around and keep everyone else outside, and then maybe get a helicopter to fly you in and out of that mansion so that you don't see everybody. And everyone will be praying day and night that fire burns down that mansion, that the helicopter crashes. Or you go in there and empower the people to be able to uplift themselves, and then their prayers to you would be that no harm befalls you. Which of the choices do we take? That is something which you would figure out for yourself when you think about your values, when you think about your priorities, and you think about your why you want to have a financial breakthrough. But whatever way you choose to do it, let's be ethical. Above all, be clean and be ethical. Scamming, illegal financial activities are a result of the love for money. And sometimes it could be because of financial illiteracy. Because they trust a wealthy person will get a rich reward, but the person who wants quick riches will get into trouble. How many times we've seen people get into trouble just because they wanted to take the shortcut, or because they wanted to just push the boundaries. Those should not be our own portion as we seek to actually embrace financial breakthroughs through unpassive. If we resist this type of shady activities and what we call fly-by-night company type activities or get rich quick schemes, we know that we would be preventing things that will also prevent us from our financial breakthrough. There are some values that I'll leave you with that we need to think and build into ourselves on our journey to financial breakthrough. These include accountability, integrity, sacrifice, gratitude, honesty, respect, courage, kindness, honor, responsibility to yourself and to each other, empathy, generosity, humility, forgiveness, faith, vision. The list is actually much longer than this. But those same values, you find them as the fruits of the Spirit in Corinthians 5. But whichever you choose to practice, whichever you choose to actually engage in, we are blessed here that a selfless individual has invited us to share in prosperity. to share in worlds that we did not take part in creating, but that we are asked and tasked to go out there and use it to create financial breakthrough for our own families, for our communities, and to uplift the world. It is really up to us. I am very confident that we will achieve it, but it's a journey, and it's a journey that we can succeed if we take it with some of these concepts in mind. I hope you were able to pick one or two things from my discussion, and I pray that as we embark on this journey, our hearts should be transformed, and we should actually help our CEO to live the dream that he has brought to us and to be able to uplift humanity. Thank you very much for listening, and over to you, Madam Moderators.
Before Sister Irene take it over, one person just want to double check. Can you confirm the book and author? Interested? The book and author, please. Is it interested? Okay.
In short, if you want.
Just stop sharing the presentation
so we can see it better.
Okay.
And trust it.
Building a Legacy That Lasts by David York and Andrew Howell. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. John. Oh, God. What will we do without you? Okay. So we all heard that, right? We are so blessed. We are so blessed to be a part of this platform, the Dream Teams and Deep Dive, because we have so many talented members that are talented in financial ideas and also ideas of the mind. So they prepare our mind in every aspect of life, and then they prepare our minds for finance, finances specifically, because this is going to be like a big change in our lives. And for some of us, I used to tell my kids how growing up when I went to college, my father would barely give me a few franc CFA, this is Cameroon money, as pocket money. And even when I graduated from school and I went to nursing school, as you all know, I'm a nurse, and I started working when I got my first salary, it was like, I had never had something like that, anything close to that in my hands. And I remember when myself and a friend, we had to go to a beer parlor to go and drink, and said, oh, we want to celebrate the first the first few
Unmute yourself.
All right. I'm not sure what happened, but we are really blessed to have talented people on this platform preparing our minds, preparing us for what is to come. And thank you, Dr. John. Wow, that was great. I'm telling you, if you had to go to a conference or go to class to learn this information, it will cost you some good money. and we are getting it here for free and getting it in the comfort of our home, getting it digitally, coming from the heart. So we thank you very much. We are so blessed. And just to add one thing before we go to our next agenda, I know that there are people here burning with questions, but we're going to give you that opportunity to do that. But I also want to say that when we say that money is the source of all evils, it is because you allow the money to control you. You have to learn to control the money. And that is what Dr. John was doing here, teaching us on how to learn, teaching us on how to control our money, to put it to use, to make our money work for us. Because even as they say is the source of all evils, I can tell you, money talks. Money talks in all aspects of life. Without money, you cannot really function. But you have to learn to put that money into use and not the money putting you into use. So thank you very much. Again, Dr. John, please hold your horses with your questions or whatever that you want to ask Dr. John. We're going to go to our next agenda first, and then we'll have that opportunity to ask questions, to ask for clarifications, whatever that you need to get from Dr. John. So at this time, I'm going to call on the update team.
Wonderful.
Dr. Derek and your team, we're going to call on you to do the updates. This is my best agenda on the agenda item every time that we have our webinar. So over to you, Dr. D and your team.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Queen Irene and all our global ambassadors, all our users, everyone that is on this platform, which is the OConnect platform, the best audio video webinar platform on the planet, hands down. And the video quality is awesome, the audio quality is awesome, and so many features. Awesome. There's no other place that you can do this. So thank you very much, Queen Lerato. Really appreciate that mindset. Very important. Thank you ever so much, Queen Lerato.
Thank you, sir. You owe me dinner.
Yes, it's the view.
You owe me dinner. Thank you, sir. You owe me dinner in New York at that building that you always talk about. So.
The view.
Have his name on the list.
Yes.
The view. All right, most definitely, the view.
Yes.
All right, so everyone will congregate at the view for lunch or dinner for Lerato. Anyway, thank you very much also, King Dr. John Ajongwen. Really appreciate that financial breakthrough, and I am sure that every one of us is actually seeing the evidence in their wallet with the financial breakthrough that we are anticipating. Thank you very much, Dr. John. All right, wonderful. And so at this time, we are just going to get into a short updates on what took place last week. Thus far, last week was oh my goodness. Last week was excited moments in time. Excited moments in time. And so I'll just call on Queen Kanda to just say a few words. All right.
All right. Not.
Yes.
Oh,
Greetings, greetings, all users. Greetings, Global Ambassador. This is Kanla from Delaware, the first state. I am here in service this afternoon with the Dream Team updates. Thank you, Sister Lerato, for the beautiful mindset. Thank you as well, Dr. John, for the awesome, wonderful, impactful presentation. So many nuggets that we will need to take some time and assimilate all. We appreciate you. Over to you, Dr. Derek. Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you very so much, Queen
Kanla.
Kanla. Really appreciate.
And
And so we are
going
going
into the updates
that is delivered today,
Sunday,
Sunday, the
24th
24th
of
of
September.
September, to remember.
But of course,
But of course,
our updates come to you from September 20.
September 20.
So take it away.
Take it away.
All right. Mr. Ash Mufare, MIT, 20th September 2022. As we speak, you are starting to see the beginning of an IT AI revolution. It is also the cleanest money you will ever earn. It is also the first time on any corner of the planet where a child will wake up and have access to unlimited amount of education on demand from their home in any language. Ebooks and audio are available.
I am
I
proud,
am proud to be a part
of this
this
movement that is going to
escalate
escalate
humans
and make a positive impact with a true disruptive technology and uplift humanity. Revive all your buried dreams, goals, and put them on the front burner. I said, revive all your buried dreams. Those dreams that you put in the closet. Those dreams that you put in the basement. Those dreams that you lock up in that book and hide it on the shelf. Dust them off, rub them off, clean them up, and put them on the front burner. We have a burning desire to get them done. Previously, I went too fast with my vision.
I have two dreams, and I am not Martin Luther King. I got too excited and started putting too many projects. The idea were faster than production levels. So we recognize that mistake and weakness and stopped putting out more projects than actual delivery. Talk and vision was way ahead.
They will happen. It's not the minute
it is live. It is over.
Tomorrow will always be better than today. Monday, which is tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, Tuesday, you're going to lose your mind. There is more, much more to come. We have adjusted the pace and are not talking about vision. We have accelerated the production.
I fell behind, and so much is happening now that I need to pick up speed and update you on what is happening now. And I could not be prouder. And this is just the beginning. Wait for all mail. Did you hear that? Wait for all mail. My name is on it, and it will make a severe positive impact. and I am proud to leave it as a legacy.
Go big,
Go big
or go home.
or go home.
Even after
Even
tomorrow,
after tomorrow,
even after tomorrow, you will find out more. We are obligated to hold as privacy now, and that is what you get used to when you play with the big boys. The event beginning September 21 at 3 a.m. EDT, 11 a.m. Dubai time, and not everything we put out to the public is everything.
If you happen to combine all that has happened so far, what you will see now, it is more than anything combined so far that you have experienced in the last 5 years. That is how all on passive. Do not worry. We should not worry about what is not perfect in O Connect. We know what we have and we are watching it.
You are happy with what we have. You will always be happy. What we have is stunning. Use our tech to realize your maximum potential, and you will exceed your dream.
Yes.
If you are a full believer, enjoy the ride comfortable in the VIP section, because that is where we are, in the VIP section. If you are not sure in our belief, you will not have a good ride. And of course, see you at another top, because if you have not realized thus far that we are now at another top with what took place on July, gone back too far, September to remember 21. The 21st of September, we have climbed to a new top. So we are now at the duo, the couple top. Let me say that again, because some of us did not get it. The duo, the couple top. Let me say it one more time, because some of us still never get it. We are now at the duo, the couple top. Why? Because, oh my goodness. Woo! One of the biggest organization in Dubai, known as Shadare, one of the biggest companies in Dubai, which is keeping all companies, especially relating to Dubai, on their toes. Why? Because this company, if you notice, sitting second from the left, we have our own COO. Mercy. Our own COO, Mohammed Kamal, in that prestigious seating arrangement. Oh my goodness. Now, you and I, might not really have an idea or have any view of who the level of these people are. Now, we're talking about major generals. We're talking about the COO of the company of Shadare. You understand? The Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rahid, which is the one who is doing all the awards from this company, met its inception in 2016. Okay, Okay. Since this company has started in 2016,
what
this
this company
has
been
been
doing
doing,
and what this company is doing
is that
it is
it is
ensuring
ensuring
by
by
companies in
companies in
certain
certain
category,
category,
it is
it is
ensuring
ensuring
that
that
the
the
welfare
welfare
of
of
labor
labor
is at its
is at its
excellence.
excellence.
The
The
welfare of the
welfare
labor
of the labor
force
force
is at
is
its
at its
excellence.
excellence.
By
By
broadening
broadening
the
the
awards
awards
reach
to
to encompass
encompass
workforce
workforce
from
from
around the
around
world,
the world,
we are
we are
actualizing
actualizing
our
our
vision
vision
and
and
commitment to
commitment
make
to make
the
the
Emirates
Emirates
a hub
a hub
of
of
labor
labor
welfare
welfare excellence.
and that
And that
is
is
awesome.
awesome.
Which means the
the
condition,
condition,
especially
especially
the
the
condition
condition
of the
of the
labor
labor
force
force
has to be
has to be
above
above
3-star,
3-star,
and
and
especially
especially
up to
up to
5-star.
5-star.
So
So
the higher in
in
ranking
ranking
that you have or you get as a labor force, as a company driving your labor force, then
then
that is
that
how
is how
you are
you are
awarded
awarded
on this
on this
company.
company.
Awesome,
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 awesome.
awesome.
This is
This
so
is so
awesome
awesome
that,
that,
oh my
oh my
goodness.
goodness.
And so
And so
we just
we
want to
just want to
thank
thank
Shadare
Shadare
for
for
partnering
partnering
with
with
Unpassive
Unpassive
in
in
order
order
to
to
ensure
ensure
the
the
realization
realization
of this.
of this.
And so
And so
therefore, that is a
a
big,
big
big top
top
that we
that
have
we have
accomplished
accomplished
in
in
2023.
2023.
So buckle up, buckle up,
buckle up,
buckle up,
buckle up,
because
because
this
this
is how
is
we
how
do
we
it.
do it.
We do it. Dream team. Ooh, this is how we do it. This is how we do it.
And of course, this is how we do it because we are
We are
Unpassive.
on Passivenaires.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And that is it for our update.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, update team. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, you know, now you see why I call this the bestest, my bestest webinar item on the agenda. So when you're busy with it and really attend these meetings, this is the best time to get it. And trust me, you understand it better when you're here. So Derek brings it down to our level for everyone to understand. So thank you very much, Dr. Derek Handler. Thank you very much for the presentation. Some people are making noise. Please, if you are not talking, can you just mute yourself so that we can all glean from what our presenters are presenting to us. All right, so thank you very much. I know earlier I had asked that we should all hold our horses because there will be a time that you can ask your questions. And I'm not sure, I don't know, I think we're gonna close the YouTube channel, Dr. P.
Yes, properly do that.
Okay. So for those of you who are joining us via YouTube, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for being a part of this webinar. At this time, we would like to say goodbye because it is time for questions and discussions, and we do not want to discuss something that is not supposed to go out in the public. So as you all know, we have many other webinars within the week. So if you have chance, you can join. For those who are currently on YouTube, but who are founders,